And let's bring in now future deputy assistant to President Trump and the senior director for counterterrorism for President Trump, Sebastian Gorka. That has a nice ring to it, Seb.
Thank you kindly. Yes, it's taken about 30 years of teaching and writing on counterterrorism, but now I get to do it for the most consequential president of the modern era. So it's going to be very exciting come 12 o'clock on January the 20th.
Truly. We're going to talk about Kash Patel in just a moment, but I do want to get your reaction to this Hunter Biden pardon, which is really a 10-year spread here. It's not even over these crimes. You know, one interesting note is Arizona Congressman Greg Stanton posted on X, and this is a Democrat saying, I respect Biden, but I think he got this one wrong. He writes, this wasn't a politically motivated prosecution. Hunter committed felonies and was convicted by a jury of his peers. So there's at least one Democrat who's willing to go against it, but the rest of folks are saying, yeah, this is what a father would do, Seb.
Right. Let's not get lost in the weeds here. We know Hunter Biden actually committed felonies with regards to, illegal purchases of firearms and tax evasion. But that's not the point. The point is that he's not the problem. The problem is his father. Hunter Biden is a very, very unfortunate individual with some rather destructive proclivities, if you know what I mean. But he was simply the bagman. He was the individual who sold access or the appearance of access to his father as a senator, a vice president, and then the commander-in-chief. He's the person who had to make the big asks of those Chinese, Romanian, Russian, Ukrainian families, and then funnel the monies into the 21 shell companies, which is really weird. I don't know about you, my friend. I don't have any shell companies, let alone 21 shell companies. So he's just the bagman. The question is, what happens with all the other actual criminals that are part of that cartel? James Biden, Frank Biden, and Joe Biden himself. Are we going to see a flurry of pardons in the next 59 days? It could be.
I guess anything is possible because he's been on the record so many times saying he would not do this. Let's talk about Kash Patel. I'm very excited about this, the choice to be the next director of the FBI. You know, he has a CV that, spans years. He even got an award when he worked for Obama at the DOJ for convictions of terrorists. He started as a public defender. All of this led him to, as we know, the Chief of Staff at the Department of Defense, Deputy Director of National Intelligence. Perhaps, obviously one of the most recent and poignant parts is the Russia collusion, which he was so paramount in breaking that wide open. They are having a meltdown on the left. It's funny, CNN's, trotting out folks like, Andrew McCabe. They obviously are concerned because they know he is somebody who knows how they work, how the swamp works. Talk to me about your reaction to have Kash lead the FBI and what would actually happen and the positive changes to the swamp over there.
Well, look, full disclosure, many people, myself included, have been working very diligently to try and make this announcement happen. And I spoke to Kash when it occurred. I said, I'm ecstatic for you, ecstatic for the president, ecstatic for America, because there's nobody better qualified. 16 years of service, from a public defender to a counterterrorism prosecutor. He actually had the job I've been nominated for as senior director of counterterrorism in the National Security Council for President Trump, then ended up as chief of staff for the whole of the Pentagon and acting deputy director of national intelligence. There is literally no one better qualified to not only run the FBI, but to root out the corruption and find the rest of the Andy McCabe's, the rest of the Peter Strzok's, and what crimes were really committed by the likes of Comey and others. If anyone is fit to either dismantle or reform the Federal Bureau of Investigations, it is my friend Kash Patel. So perfect pick, Mr. President. Congratulations.